Good afternoon. Hello, hello, hello. See if we can spend a few minutes together. Hello, Sylvia. Hey, Lovey. Pastor D. Hello, Jeremy Grimes. I am still celebrating the word you got from Bishop JC. Are you celebrating that word? Inbox me. I want to hear what your afterthoughts, what your takeaway is. Hello, Cynthia Baisden, my buddy, deliverance minister, Pastor T.L. Holmes, Frederica. Hey, Stephen Hicks, my neighborhood familia. Roxy. Yes, I'll see you in a little while, Sylvia. Carmen Jones, Priscilla Harris, Katrina, I'm coming. I'm making my way to that office. I'm coming. I know you're saying, detox while you're in here, Apostle. Come on in. I'm going to give it just a few more. Good afternoon. Make sure you say good afternoon to each other. Make sure you say good afternoon to each other. I want to talk a little bit about that today. Hello, Destiny Adgers. Hello, Demisha. That's right. Say hello to everyone we haven't gotten on here. Some of y'all haven't been on these Tuesdays morning, well, really Tuesday afternoons with us. So it's good to see you on today. Denise Rogers, hello. Vanessa Bowling, hello. Peter, hi. I want to talk about some toxic emotions and watching your self-talk. Most of us know at this point, if you've been involved in Soul Detox, let me just make sure I got the volume right. Good. If you've been involved in Soul Detox, especially from 2017, you'll hear the word toxic come up a lot. And you will also hear the word self-talk come up a lot. Hello, Minister Crystal. And self-talk is that conversation that you have with yourself. It's that, thoughts and daydreams and inner conversations. It could be inner turmoil. It could be inner joy. But it's that self-talk, that talk you have with yourself, and making sure that your self-talk is promoting you to the best possible degree to any situation. Hello, Carla. Hello, Taquana. Because most times when we go through situations in life, trauma, heartache, heartbreak, loss, change is what I want to hit before I end this short soul detox heartbeat. That's what I'm going to call it. It's just a heartbeat today. Things that make your heart beat, but it's short enough for us to call it a heartbeat and not a whole broadcast. Hello, Minister Joy. Hello, Dr. Oath. And hello, Joy McFarland. So a lot of people struggle with change. More often they struggle with change than they do having to do the same thing over and over and over again. And my husband and I, we laugh because I think part of the male humanity is they can be very content in their environments. My husband loves to know that things are scheduled and planned, and that he can pretty much know when things are happening and when they're going to happen, how they're going to happen, creatures of habit. Well, he married someone who was completely opposite to being a creature of habit. I love spontaneity. I love randomness. I love constant change. Anyone who comes to my house can tell you they just don't know. I mean, my assistants, when they come in my office, they're like, oh, this is nice. In 6 months, I'll take this and I'll take that, because they know I need constant change. It can be very healthy. It can also be very costly. So there's the pros and the cons of it. But my point is, we all have to understand that there's going to be change in our lives, either change that we're going to bring, or people or companies or churches or our God who is going to have change happen in the earth, which will ultimately affect us. It will affect us. And you're going to have to learn how to work with change. Change is inevitable, but change is also scary. And I get that. I get that. Change is inevitable, but change can also be scary. And I just want you to kind of pay attention to the conversations that you're having with yourself, because more times than none, you are talking yourself out of some very opportunistic networks, friendships, relationships, opportunities, just in general. And, you know, then later on say, I'm bored, or nothing comes my way, I don't have opportunities, things never happen for me, things never change for me. When really, if you could pay attention to your self-talk, more than likely, you have talked yourself out of opportunities because of fear. We all have fears. The enemy, through the fall of man, has brought fear into the earth, and through fear and loss of hope is some very strategic ways that our spirit's enemy likes to come at us and hinder us. And I've heard a couple people say to me, oh, I'm not going to call them, they don't call me, no one checks on me. If no one called me or checked on me, if I died, no one would ever know. I could be in my house dead for days and nobody would even know it. You're always out. I see pictures of you always out on Facebook, and I never really get to go out. No one invites me out. No one thinks of me. I even had someone else say to me, you're very popular. And I'm like, no, you're going by Facebook? I post what I choose to post on Facebook. My life is not revealed in its fullness on Facebook. Come on, somebody. Do not go by Facebook. I, by nature, am a loner. And since being born again, over 20-something years ago, I enjoy being alone, going to dinner alone, going to the movies alone. But I had to learn to catch my toxic thoughts, because my mind was thinking one thing and my mouth was speaking another thing. Or my heart was wanting one thing, but my mind was speaking the opposite. And you can say it's because of pride, or your heart and your mind, they're not in agreement. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But often if you check your self-talk, and I always recommend those that I counsel and mentor to do journaling. You know why? Let me tell you something that I always say. When a new client comes on, this is a statement that I always say to them. From the minute you wake up in the morning, you're either starting out in prayer, or you're, doing your little personal stuff, but you're getting the kids ready, maybe getting some breakfast ready, you got the radio on, the news is on, you're checking Facebook, you're putting up your posts for the day, you're going to catch the news, maybe you stop at the gas station, maybe you'll talk to your friends before you get to the office. Then when you get in the car, you're running somewhere else on lunchtime to order lunches, and you're having lunch with people. Then maybe you get off work and your evening goes something like, as soon as you get in the car, you put the radio on, and then you might go and have a meeting, or go to Bible study, or go home and ask the kids how their day were, and begin to start their homework with them, or whatever you do. The point that I want you to take from this is that you are listening to other people all day long. And the person who gets the least amount of your attention is you. You listen to the news, you listen to the radio, you read communications via social media, you're at work listening to conversations, you're having conversations with your friends, you're listening to the radio, you're playing your CDs, whatever it may be. But just think about how much intake you're taking in all day long, and you have not paid attention to yourself. It has been medically, scientifically expressed that we have over 5,000, hope it's not 50,000, but we'll confirm it if I'm misquoting it today because of memory. We have over 5,000 thoughts a day. It's probably 50,000 thoughts a day. And we're lucky if we could remember 3 of them. 3! Even if the number was 5,000, that's not even 10%. We're lucky if we remember 3 of our thoughts in a day. Can you imagine that? But do you know you're having 5 to 50,000 thoughts a day, but you're only remembering 3 because you're giving all your time, all your attention, all your communication to other things. Thank you. Somebody said 50,000. Oh yeah, that's my Vanessa. We talked about this already. And to remember 3 to 5 thoughts out of 50,000 thoughts a day, and these are your most valuable thoughts. These are the thoughts that you need to place in your truth or in your trash. And if they're in your trash, you need to make sure and take time to make sure that they're in the trash and they stay in the trash. Things like that people said about you that weren't true, things that offended you, things that people said about you that were true, that hurt you. any offenses or pain, lies that maybe you were told growing up. Maybe people who want to keep their foot on your neck as far as keeping your ministry from growing or doing the things that God has called you to do, because God didn't give them your vision. He gave you his vision for you. And when you just so busy all day long and you don't just take the time to close your door. That's why I used to always skip lunch. I would either sit in my car at lunchtime, take a walk at lunchtime, and not really try to bother with people. And you know, a lot of people could think that I'm stuck up. I love people. I love having a good time. I probably like having a good time, maybe a little bit too much for some people's taste. I love having a good time, and I really love people. But I also have learned to be selfish with myself so that I can find out and do due diligence on what exactly is my heart feeling, what is my mind registering, and what is my mouth communicating. Am I feeling the thoughts that I'm thinking and speaking it out of my mouth, or am I speaking the opposite? For example, you might say something like, I wish I had more friends. I wish I was a little more popular. I wish I had a prayer partner. I wish I had someone to study with. I wish I had someone that I could go to the movies with once a week. Anything. But when these opportunities come, I don't know if I really like her. You know, I don't trust people. I'm not a people person. You just express that you have a desire to be in fellowship, but your mind has canceled it out because you won't take the time to grow up over your pain, grow up over your offenses. So the lessons that you're learning in life aren't really learned, they're just experienced. Because when we are hurt, we have to embrace the lesson from the hurt, not just chalk it up as experience. All experience says is, I've tasted sweet potato pie and I like it. It doesn't mean you've learned anything about sweet potato pie. You don't know how it's cooked. You don't know the ingredients that's in it in order to bake it. You don't even know how it tastes compared to anything else. So you've just had an experience, but you haven't learned anything from the experience. And that might have been a weak example, but maybe I want some sweet potato pie, so that's why I brought that one up. But but I want you to listen to what conversations you are ignoring in yourself. You're hearing everyone else's opinion of you. You're hearing everyone else's criticisms of you. You're hearing everyone else's admonishments of you. You're hearing other people's appreciation of you. But how do you feel about you? Have you done a soul check? How are you pleased with how you handled that last conflict in your life? Are you happy with how that last relationship ended? Do you have peace with how that last relationship ended? Do you have peace with that change that was inevitable in your life? Have you made peace with these things? Or is your heart feeling one thing and your mind processing a thought to that feeling and your mouth speaking an alternate communication? You've got to spend some time on yourself and check yourself. I always quote this song, and my church laughs at me, but there was a line in the song, I believe, and it was, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Thank you. He said that was fine and to the point. Thank you. It's important to do a soul check. And sometimes if my family doesn't give me that space and I can't find it in my day, I'll get it in my car. I'll be like, I got to run to CVS. I'll be back. Anybody want something? Oh, yeah, I want chips. Oh, yeah, I want a notebook. All right, no problem. I'll use that time to go sit in my car to do a soul check on me. Suzanne, what are you feeling? You've been feeling off all day. You know, before I was filled with the Holy Spirit, I used to have these feelings. Now I know that they're prophetic fluctuations, but I used to have these feelings. Something bad was about to happen. And I would speak it out of my mouth. Oh boy, something bad about to happen. I feel it. And every time I get this feeling, I know it's right. So something bad is about to happen. So I would sense prophetically what I did not understand in the prophetic and begin to speak out this sensing that I had and buy into the fact that because I sensed it, there was no way stopping it, that I had to now put my words and my power to a sensing that I got, that I had no understanding of what realm of the spirit it came from. Don't have time to go into that today. What is my point? That when I was filled with the Holy Spirit, I realized that I had the power of the tongue. I had power to think those things that are not as though they were. I understand that I had the power to cast down every imagination. I found out that just because I sensed bad things, I didn't have to just accept bad things. And if they did come, that there was a proper prevention method that I could put in place for those things that I was sensing and feeling. And, was it from God or was it from the enemy, who knew that all he had to do was give me a feeling and I would begin to speak it out and put in motion his plan for my day or my life? What is my purpose in that? You got to balance out the scales. You got to measure the scales. You've got to make sure that you have scripture that you're standing on daily for situation, fears that you're worrying about, burdens that you're carrying, change that you know is going to come, that is inevitable, but you're afraid to embrace the change. I've noticed that there's a lot of us who love people and we want to be around people, but through past hurt, broken relationships, friendships that just kind of, maybe they grew up, they went a little distance, things just came in between the relationship, and now they don't know how to reach back out to the person, but they have no problem reaching out to a man or a woman who broke their heart, used them, was in another country taking their money off the internet, will go back and meet them again, dated somebody who was dating somebody who was dating somebody who was dating somebody, and they're still waiting for this person to come back in their life, or hopes. But you won't call a family member who you love and you miss. You won't call a mutual friend who you love and you miss. But you will push yourself back out in harm's way to be with some fool, some user, some abuser, some lying sweet talker, because inside you haven't monitored the fact that you're needing fellowship, and you're mixing up the need for fellowship with the need for sexual intimacy. You're mixing up, you're confusing the lines of needing someone in your life that you can trust versus having someone in your life for companionship that may lead to marriage. It's okay to have male friends, but you have to know that you can handle male friends. I have more male friends than female friends. And you know how that works? Because I know that I don't have to sleep with every male friend that shows himself friendly, that buys me lunch, that shakes my hand, that wants to have a conversation with me, that inboxes me or calls me. I understand that I can be a friend to a man without having to be, I don't want to say a woman, but without having to be a woman, lonely, and misplacing my emotions and feelings for somebody else reaching out. Even if they reached out with ill intent, even if they reached out and wanted relationship with me, the conversation would usually not happen because that's not what I'm open for. So we'll go through all these other loops to fill a void that maybe is not meant to be filled for someone coming in to look for dating or domestic relationships. What happened with just having fellowship? I've been hurt in the church. Okay, and you were also beat up by Pookie, but you're still looking for another Pookie. You don't realize it, but you're still looking for another Pookie. And maybe you're not looking for Pookie, but now you're looking for Ronnie and Bobby. I mean, it's not making sense. My girlfriends, I caught them, they was talking about me. Okay, your boyfriend is sleeping around on you, but you're hoping he will grow and change, but you cut off your girlfriends because they was talking about you? Well, I've got two things to say about that. With my friends, we have an agreement that if there's something we need to say to each other, we have to give each other the right to speak it. And also, we have to have ourselves in a place where we allow them to speak their truth. Because a lot of people may want to be honest, but they cannot, because the person they need to be honest with can't handle the truth. So somebody wants to be honest with you and tell you, you cut a lot of people off in your life. Women, you cut a lot of women off in your life, but you keep shady men around you. You keep giving them chances. I mean, I can tell you stories about women who've gotten STDs and still won't leave him, but will cut a homegirl off in a minute. Something's not right on the inside of you. I don't think you're ready for a relationship if someone can continuously give you an STD, because obviously you don't know your worth, you don't know your value. So not only do you not love yourself because you're risking your body and future cancer coming to your uterus or ovarian by exposing the most intimate parts of yourself with somebody who doesn't appreciate or see you as special, but you'll cut off your homegirl in a minute because she talked about you. Well, I'd rather be with somebody that talks about me than somebody who keeps giving me an STD and talking about me. We've got to check out what is it here? What are we feeling? Does it line up with what we're thinking? And are we speaking that truth? Because if not, you're unstable. And the Bible that I follow tells me that an unstable man is unstable in all his or her ways. It's foolish. So what I want to tell you today, I want to give you 5 beats. Matter of fact, let me give you 5 beats because I only want to talk about the 5th one today. But I'm going to give you the list today, and y'all can hold me accountable to finishing it with you. 5 beats. What to do to prepare yourself for to rebound, to prepare yourself for a heartbreak that is getting ready to come for some of you, and for some of us who are getting ready to go through life's change, a life-changing event, so that you can handle it. The first thing I want you to know and understand that whenever you go from something that had been stable or consistent, no matter how bad or sick it was or toxic it was still stable toxicity and consistent abuse. People get used to that. You have to prepare yourself to understand, one, that breakup or change is a time to be excited because it is now a time of personal growth for you. You've got to go from just having life experiences to having life lessons. You want to learn something from an experience. You don't just want an experience. So in order to survive a breakup or prepare for a change or make it through a heartache, the first thing you have to learn to do is to now take care of yourself. It is now about you. It's now about you. This is now a time, I believe, that God gives us these moments in life to give us a chance to grow up, to have a slow moment to think, to have our back kind of pushed against the corner, in a corner, so that we can look at our whole life panoramic view instead of just focusing on him or on the kids or on my friends or on my credit or on finances. That we kind of get our back pushed up against the wall so we can look at a panoramic view of our life and decide, am I living the life I really want to live? Have I settled somewhere? Has fear caused me to settle? Fear of I may not get another relationship, fear of I don't want to go through change again, fear of I've put so much work into this individual and then they're going to go and all that I've worked in with them, they're going to go and bloom and blossom to the person I've been waiting for them to bloom and blossom into with someone else. And that happens more often than you think. But also, you're going to bloom and blossom with somebody who can now appreciate you. So the first thing you've got to do is learn to now take care of yourself. Focus on you. Focus on yourself. The second beat that I want to give you today is, if you're out of a relationship, you've ended a relationship is over, you have to cut off all contact. This is the part of you that now has to die. This is the part of you that now has to die so that another part of you can now grow. The eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard. Do you know what it takes for that to happen? Something has to die in order for what eyes haven't seen and ears haven't heard to come forth. It has to be the cutoff. It has to be the dying off of a part of you that was once a part of that thing. And you have to stand flat-footed on it. It's about making boundaries, setting boundaries of what you're not going to do anymore. If you're cutting off the girlfriends more often than you're cutting off the boyfriends, well, there's something in you that's unsure, untrusting, unstable, but you're willing to believe that because this man stays in your life, though you know he's dating, though you know he's cheating, though you know he's not protecting himself, so he definitely isn't protecting you, something's wrong. What you're looking for isn't matching up with what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and what you're communicating. So you need to journal all that. You need to write it down. I know we don't like it. We're in a millennia age, so we have all these recording devices. Grab your phone once in a while and just say, I just felt crazy today. Today was a good day. Today I was very depressed. And you will be able to look over the last 30 days to see if there's any patterns in your life. You'll be surprised. I've read in one of my training manuals about sexual abuse. And they were saying how this young kid, anytime the number, I think it was 3 came up in his life, starting in the 3rd grade, his life would go left and he would rebound back on drugs. So anytime the number 3 came up, and what they found out was he was molested by a group of kids on the way to school, never told anyone about it. And I can't remember now from the lesson, but something happened that stuck with him that was 3. And anytime the number 3 came up in his life, basically self-sabotage hit his life. So you've got to monitor yourself to see if there's patterns worth checking in with someone on. I used to have a rule, crazy rule, but I had a rule. Every 5 years, I had to have change in my life. I left a job every 5 years. I left a man every 5 years. I would change everything out in my house every 5 years. I had a 5-year rule. I don't know where I got it from. I don't know where it happened. But I knew about every 5 years, I had to shed some layers on me. And I was out of there. And corporately, it worked for me because I found out working in HR that by 5 years, you've kind of tapped out your maximum wage potential, and you need to either be promoted or you need to leave, because at the 5th year, people are now coming in that are going to make more money than you, and you may end up training them. So I had these crazy little patterns in my life that I had to, when I went through my soul detox, I had to find out, where did these patterns come from? And my God, you will be so surprised where they come from, how long they've been there, and how they've really been in your face all day. But because you spend more time listening to TV, radio, reading social media, talking to friends, or being on the telephone, the one person who needs your attention the most is yourself, gets the least amount of your day. Gets the least amount. So you're going through heartache or change in your life, first thing you need to do is now start focusing on you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you some pointers on how to do that on our next talk. The second beat is to cut off all contact. This is the dying part of you. You got to let you die. You heard how I said it? You got to. You have to let yourself die. Stop trying to keep alive something that has died. The relationship is over. The change has come. Everyone else has moved on but you. And you're telling everyone, I don't trust people, but the person you really don't trust is you, because you accepted a relationship that you knew wasn't beneficial. You hung with girls that you knew weren't going where you were going, wasn't interested going where you were going. You made these decisions. So ultimately, people didn't let you down. You let you down because no one forced you. No one made these decisions for you. You made them for yourself. So how to get over it now? Grieve. Let that part of you die. Something's got to die. The third beat is to go ahead and grieve. Go ahead and grieve the fact that I made a bad decision. Go ahead and grieve the fact that I'm ashamed. Go ahead and grieve the fact that I'm embarrassed. Go ahead and grieve the fact that I'm afraid of change. That's why I never left this company, and I'm training people who are now making more money than me. Be upset that people are being promoted in the workplace and with higher education, even in the church, because you have fears, or you've lost faith or belief in yourself, or you can't take correction because you've been hurt. You can't follow leadership because you've been hurt. I don't trust anyone. It's killing your life. So why don't you let that part of you die so that you can be resurrected and the new can be introduced to your community? It works. It works. Third beat said go ahead and grieve. Fourth one, you have to continue with self-care. I can help you with that. Or you may have a good group of friends that can help you with that. But continue with self-care. Do not be a 50-year-old fool, 60-year-old, 70-year-old, 80-year-old, 40-year-old fool. Self-care is important. It is important that you evolve, that you change, that you grow. It is important. God tells us that he gives us new mercies every day. You need to grow every day. You need to grow every week. Every year you need to grow. This is the time for me now. Well, I'm already writing my list of what I'm not taking into 2019 with me. It's not a resolution. It's not a resolve that I had to come to. It's goals and plans that I set for my life. And these things I'm not dealing with in 2019. Some I put on the side are questionable, that I want to get rid of them. But a part of me is struggling with letting it go. So I'm going to do a self-evaluation on myself, an assessment to find out What fear is attached to me moving on from this thing? Okay, I'm moving on. Don't hang up on me yet. Beat number 5, stay in communication with those you love. This is the one I want to talk about, and this is where we will end. Stay in communication with those you love. When you're going through change, when you've had heartache, divorce, death, maybe you're going through seasonal depression, oppression, whatever name you want to put on it. We're all going through something. But if you're going through a change in your life where you just feel alone and lonely, you do not have to be. Just stop being picky about who God sends in your life when you weren't picky about the last few lousy things that came through your life and left. Come on, I know I'm talking right today. Stay in communication with those you love. If you are battling toxic emotions and you want help with your self-talk, what you have to do, instead of following negative feelings and emotions, like no one loves me, no one cares about me, no one calls me, instead, call your loved ones. I repeat, call your loved ones. Stop that. That's toxic emotion. It's poisonous self-talk. You've had worse things happen in your life. You've had worse people do worse things to you. Come on, y'all. Don't make me come out with the worser. Heartbeat number 5. Due diligence on our heart today. Stay in communication with those you love. Stop with the toxic thoughts of, I am not calling anyone. No one loves me. No one calls me. No one cares about me. If I died, no one would know it for days. Nobody's in love with me. Nobody gets excited when I come in the room. Nobody's heart beats for me. Nobody goes to sleep thinking about me at night. Stop those toxic emotions and kill the self-talk. Let that part of you die. Instead of following your negative feelings and emotions, call your loved ones. Who cares? You don't know what they're going through. They may not be able to call you. Instead, just call them. Why? Somebody asked me why. Come on, so I can let y'all go. I know some of y'all probably on lunch hour. Hashtag replay. Ask me why. Ask me why should I call them, Apostle? Why should I call them? Come on, I'm not answering to somebody say why. Yeah, we know because it's toxic. But why? Come on, Katrina. Thank you. Come on, Cynthia. Come on. Some of y'all may be driving like me and you can't. I definitely don't want you to if you're driving. Come on, Denise. Priscilla. And there we go, Vanessa. I think that's my 5th why. Because you want to talk to them. That's why. You're not doing them a favor. You're doing yourself a favor. Call your loved ones. Don't follow your toxic emotions and feelings. Call them because you love them. Call them because you want to call them. Don't cut off resources, great conversations, making somebody else's day just because you're following toxic emotions. Come on. Come on, we're better than this. Nothing worse than an old fool. Instead, call your loved ones because you love them. Call. Put your pride away. Because you love them, just call them. Oh, they're going to send me the voicemail. So what? It's not about their voicemail. It's about you. You're growing up. You're taking responsibility. You're measuring the scales out with your feelings, with your thoughts, and with your communication. Call them because you love them and because you want to talk to them. Don't follow toxic emotions. Call because you love them, because you're learning to love your single self again. Call them because you're learning to love yourself again. Call them because you're learning to love people again. Call them because you're learning to trust people again. It's about you. They're just a step on the road that you have decided to take to get back to focusing on yourself. Call because you want to. And do not expect them to be happy. Do not expect a call back. If they always sent it a voicemail, expect to be sent a voicemail. But call. Defeat your biggest liar, your biggest intruder, your biggest enemy. Defeat the biggest elephant of no trust in the room, and that's with yourself. Because I guarantee it, you have let yourself down more than anyone else has ever let you down. You have to focus on Who am I becoming? Who am I now and who am I becoming? Who am I now and who am I becoming? That's why you're the one picking up the phone and making the phone call. That's why you're sending out the Christmas cards and you've never done it in your life. That's why you're sending prayers to people and you're not expecting a response. You're doing it because you're doing a self-evaluation and you are assessing who I am now and who I am becoming. That's right, evolving. That's right. And if you're coming out of a relationship, let me give you this in my ending. Do a relationship inventory. If you're coming out of heartache, going through any change, life-changing event, if you're coming through anything like that, do a relationship inventory. If this doesn't involve other people, then do an inventory on yourself. Look for patterns in your life. Are you too naive? Do you let people come in too soon? Do you have a life with no doors and windows? You have no boundaries, no holds? People can call you anytime they want to, treat you any way they want you, ignore you anytime they want to, speak ill about you anytime you want to. You're passive aggressive. You're not confronting them. You're not setting boundaries. You're not making promises to yourself and keeping them. You drop the bar. You let people come across boundaries. No. Who am I now and who am I becoming? So do an inventory either on yourself or your relationship and look for patterns. Patterns like what? Patterns to discover all harmful patterns in your life or relationship. Harmful patterns in your life or relationships. And you're doing it for this reason. You want to note the positive and you want to note the negative aspects of all relationships in your life. Note down the positive and the negative aspects to the relationships in your life. You can do it for domestic relationships or you can do it with your homeboys or your homegirl relationship. But you have to do an inventory to look for positive and negative aspects of those relationships. And do it of both partners. What did you bring to the table? What did he bring to the table? What did you start out doing that you stopped? What did he start out doing that he stopped? Or the girlfriends, whatever. But what attracted you originally but proved to be detrimental? What attracted you originally but proved to be detrimental? I'll give you this example and then I'm done. I was talking to a woman who was with a narcissist. She didn't know it for years. When she met him, he was buying her all her clothes. He started buying her all her jewelry. She thought she met her knight in shining armor. She thought she met her sugar daddy. She thought she met her, I don't know what else, what kind of names we got for him. But she thought she met the one who loved her so much that he wanted to bestow all these gifts on her. Comes to find out, she ignored the fact because she wanted someone to buy her gifts. Maybe it was her love language. She liked receiving gifts. She liked feeling special. She related feeling special to gifts. But later on she found out that he wasn't really buying her gifts because he loved her. He bought her gifts because he was controlling her. He was letting her know how I want you to dress. This is the type of jewelry I want you to wear. She didn't realize till 5 years out of the relationship, through us sitting down and talking, that what she ignored because she assumed gift giving meant he loved her. Gift giving meant he wanted a baby with her. Gift giving meant he was eventually going to marry her one day. She confused the gift giving and her perception for marriage and future and baby and monogamy. She thought gift giving was saying this without him having to say it, which later found out through a very emotionally, which eventually turned physical, abusive relationship. He was a narcissist. And the reason why he was picking out her clothes and buying her clothes and jewelry is because he was controlling what he wanted her to wear, how he wanted her to look, how he wanted her to dress, and it took her years to get out of it. To the point that I believe she was maybe late 40s or 50s. By the time she got out of it, she did not know who she was, what she liked, what she didn't like, nothing about herself. He totally wiped the slate clean as if she had come out of a coma and had to learn to walk again. So were there any warning signs that you ignored? Use it for future use, but also look for your own too. Look for your own as well. All right, if I went too fast and too deep, you're going to have to go ahead and replay it, hashtag replay, I've got to go for now. Please go to the website and subscribe. I've got some good stuff coming out. SuzanneMHoward.com. Please go to YouTube and subscribe. All of these are immediately put up on YouTube. Well, immediately for me is within the first 24 hours. Are immediately put up on YouTube. You can replay them, send them to your friends. You don't have to worry about Facebook or any platform like that. It's forever on YouTube. So I love you. God bless you all. I hope to hear back some responses from you. My email is info@SuzanneMHoward.com. info@SuzanneMHoward.com. Thank you for subscribing. Don't forget, December 22nd, I will be doing a live soul detox. We're going to have food. We're going to have fellowship. We're going to have music. We're going to have a great time. We're going to be crying. We're going to be laughing. We're going to go through the areas of our life that are caution. You'll see caution tape will be our theme. I'm going to have caution tape for all of you. It's going to be exciting. We're going to be at Goodwin College, 1 Riverside Drive, East Hartford, in the auditorium. Goodwin College, 1 Riverside Drive, East Hartford, Connecticut, in the auditorium, December 22nd from 10 to about 2 p.m. All right? God bless you. I love you all. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. God bless you.